It's that time. Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
And today we are talking about one of my favorite franchises, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But this is a series you may not know about. This is their latest IDW comic book series. Part of the reason we are talking about it is they just wrapped up issue 150, and it's kind of the end of this volume, and it's going to be relaunched by Jason Aaron, I believe, in the fall. So today we are going to be looking at some of my favorite stories from IDW, and maybe convince some of y'all to give it a try.
This will be a learning time for me because this is not one that I myself am too familiar with. I think I know like the first couple story arcs from like back in the early 2010s. But yeah, this one will definitely be more of a learning thing. By the way, I typically do have my camera on. The only reason that I have my camera off this week is because in the Midwest we're dealing with some storms, and so I don't know what that particularly will do to my internet connection. So I'm trying to keep I'm trying to keep the bandwidth as low as possible. What's up, Trippin' Orc?
Yeah, I was trying to go to bed last night. I turned on YouTube and it was chaos, just nonstop tornado warnings.
Yeah,
It was bonkers and
yeah.
really tragic situation there.
hmm So
So let's get on to our weekend checkup because Caleb's already complaining about the size of the slideshow I sent him.
yes. Why don't you go first? Because my weekend checkup's gonna segue into news.
Um, okay, so I found a YouTube channel, Danny Malt, that I sent to you,
Yes.
where he reviews, he does summaries on comic book series. So a lot of non Marvel, non DC stuff, which is cool because a lot of that stuff, when I used to go to the library all the time, they'd have volume one or volume two and then never finish the series. So, Irredeemable by Mark Wade was one of those series. So I was like, okay,
I
I've read,
love Irredeemable.
okay. I have read the first two volumes back in the day. Uh, and so I watched like all 10 parts over the weekend. I, I don't know, maybe because I was watching it back to back to back to back. I got a little annoyed with some of the plot lines towards the end. The beginning is quite strong, but it just gets really wacky, and the whole love plot between him and Modius, it just, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what's going on in Mark Wade's head. So
Was it Mark Millar?
no, this is Mark Wade.
Was it? Was it Mark Wade? I always thought it was
Mark
Mark
Wade
Millar.
did Irredeemable, did Corruptible, and then Mark Millar did Wanted, and what's that other one? He's got a bunch of them. They're very similar.
That was Mark Wade. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Okay, that doesn't change the fact that I love Irredeemable, but
Yeah, so um yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I don't know, spoilers for Irredeemable. It ends with the, oh, he influenced the creation of Superman, and I feel like I've seen that ending like 12 times now in different comic books. So it just, I don't know. Anyhow, other than that, I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I finally got beat all the Among Us DLC, so now I'm moving on to the Contra DLC, and that's pretty fun. So, I know I watched a movie the other day. I don't remember what it was.
wasn't that good, I guess.
I'm sure it was one I'd already seen. I was probably watching with the kids or whatever. So, um, yeah, or that I've been watching Smiling Friends, which is still one of the funniest Adult Swim shows out there. So,
I anytime someone brings up the Smiling Friends, I just have to bring up because I kind of get Smiling Friends, I kind of understand it, but Shrimpina is one that I always love. Pib, we gotta get your eyes checked, man. Her her name's Shrimpina. Should be a shrimp. Oh no, I thought it'd be one of those things where you think her name is Shrimpina, but then she turns out she's this beautiful woman. What do you mean one of those things? Like I said, we gotta get you to the eye doctor, man.
It's just, if you like Oni plays, there's no reason why you should not be watching Smiley Friends. I mean, it's the same, on the same creators. It's very funny.
Speaking of Oni plays, I don't know if you ever knew this. Did you know that I named one of my guitars Shipiphany?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. One of my guitars' name is Shipiphany.
That's great.
I don't. What else you got?
That's probably it. It's been a
Okay,
very stressful week at work, and it's finally a
sure.
3-day weekend, and it's halfway over. So I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
So last week we had a pre-recorded special because Cameron and I went to Broadway. We saw Beetlejuice the musical, uh, and I adored it. It's not the best musical that I've ever seen, but it is probably my favorite because it is so my thing. It's so my style. Like it's like carnival rock, if that makes any sense. And it's extremely dark humor, so much vulgarity and language. I loved it. uh, I sent you a video of the opener. Did you
I
get to watch
haven't had a chance.
it? Okay.
I'm really bad about that. The
Yeah.
thing about like stuff like Beetlejuice is people think, oh yeah, Beetlejuice, that's family friendly comedy because
No.
they remember the cartoon and the toy line and stuff. They don't remember that. Oh, if you actually sit down and watch that movie, it's got some pretty vulgar stuff in it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I still haven't seen the movie. Apparently that so obviously because it's a 90-minute movie versus a 3-hour musical.
Three
So like
hours, okay.
I don't know if it was 3 hours. It might have been 2.5. Well, you also got to include the intermission and
Intermission
whatnot.
and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know that they expanded upon some things. They changed the ending and all that. Um, so I still haven't seen the movie, but I liked. Uh, so Orc, my parents have like season tickets to our the Louisville Broadway and whatnot, and so they go every month, and then depending on what it is, we go see like so we saw Dear Evan Hansen with them, we saw Hamilton with them, and then Beetlejuice. They're still in Italy, and so they just gave us their tickets
Yeah.
last week. Um, so we go semi often. But yeah, so and what was interesting is like a day later, the Beetlejuice trailer came out, and so I saw that trailer and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. I have not seen Sweeney Todd. I've been wanting to. I've actually never even seen the movie version, so um, I think. And ironically, we lived up in Jersey for 3 years. The only thing that we ever saw in New York was after we moved back to Kentucky. Then we took a vacation up to New Jersey to visit up some friends and found family, and we saw Chicago, which was also great. um, but I don't know. Did you see the Beetlejuice trailer?
I did. It looks like a lot of fun. Looks like we're getting a lot uh, more exploration of the world of the dead and stuff. So looks fun.
Okay, gotcha. Does it look like a retread at all? Because I feel like the sequels just look like retreads at this point.
I mean, it just feels like the next chapter. Like, you know, Lydia's like, "Do not say the name." The daughter says it anyways, and then it looks like the world of the living and dead is integrating more. So I'll be curious how they do that. It's weird because it starts with the dad from the first movie being dead, and then he's not going to be in the movie because of stuff he did in real life that's keeping him from being in the movie. And it's kind of weird though. You're in a movie where you go see dead people, and how are you going to explain away that he's not there in the world of the dead? You know,
Uh,
so
I don't know. Like, they did a pretty decent job. I mean, like, at least in the musical, they did a pretty decent job explaining why they didn't go see the mom. So, is that a thing? So the musical opens up at her mom's funeral.
no,
Uh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
okay, okay. So it opens up at her mom's funeral, and then um,
When you say her mom, you talking about Lydia?
yeah, yeah, Lydia's mom, and then I guess it's then she's having to deal with her dad and like her stepmom or something.
Oh, okay. So they're adding to it. Yeah, she does live with her dad and stepmom in
Yeah,
the movie, but
yeah,
it just doesn't have the funeral stuff.
yeah,
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
yeah. Well, and it's not necessarily her stepmom because it takes place like 6 months after her funeral, and so her dad is kind of moving on, and
Hmm.
he's got a new girlfriend.
Hmm.
Um, so it. I mean, it opens so Beetlejuice is kind of like Deadpool, where he's always talking to the audience. It's really funny because he's constantly talking to the audience. He's cursing at us. He's flipping us off. It's amazing.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah,
and so he's like, "Holy crap!
yeah.
A ballad already, and such a departure from the original source material." And so they open up saying that this is not going to be like the movie. Um,
Does
but from
it
what
does it have the Alec Baldwin Gia Davis character in there at all?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They're deuter tag. So it actually opens up. So after, so it goes from the funeral to the opening number with Beetlejuice, and then it actually shows their death.
Hmm.
Because like the whole point is they've got like this 10-year plan. They don't have a baby, but they got everything else. But they're
Yeah.
scared to move forward in their life, and so "Ready Set Not Yet" is the song that they sing.
Hmm.
And then they have like horrible wiring in the house, and so they plug in something, and they both electrocute themselves and die.
Oh yeah, that's a little different. It's a car crash off a bridge in the movie. So
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, and there, I have a question.
Hmm.
Was Beetlejuice constantly hitting on Alec Baldwin?
Not that I remember. He was hitting on Gina Davis quite a bit.
So he was hitting on her too, but he was hitting on the what's his name? So there's Barbara and Adam.
Yeah.
He was hitting on Adam like way more, and it was really funny.
It's been a long time I've seen it. I don't remember that. Of course, it was a movie from the 80s, 90s,
Right,
80s.
right,
I highly doubt it.
yeah.
Um, and also, that sounds a little bit more like Rocky Horror Picture Show at that point. But
You know what? It's a lot like that. It's a lot
yeah.
like Rocky Horror. But yeah, I mean, like if I were to give my review 2 thumbs up, ironically, it makes me it makes me excited for Joker Folie à Deux because I mean, it's this musical is kind of like what I would want a Joker musical to be. Obviously, Folie à Deux is probably going to be more of a serious musical, but
Which is weird when you're saying that about the Joker. Yeah, it's
I
going to be
know,
more serious.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. Uh, anyway, going on to more news. I was talking about Beetlejuice the musical. Forgot to put that up. But you said I didn't look into this at all because I kind of don't care. But you said that we have news on the Vision series.
And normally, I don't care either. I've largely written off Disney Plus Marvel shows. However, they got Terry Matalas to be the showrunner. He's the guy that turned Picard around to season 3. So now you got my interest a little peaked here. It still may suck, but they actually have a decent showrunner involved. Um, and I've been hearing rumors for years about a Children's Crusade mini. So I don't know if this is what this is about the search for Scarlet Witch and the Young Avengers and everything. I don't know, or this could just be a separate Vision series. I have no idea. So I'm just saying, keep an eye on this. This may be better than we think it's going to be.
Okay, okay. Um, I like Picard season 1.
You always say that Picard season 3 is where it's at.
So apparently he did season 2 and season 3. I don't what did you
Did
watch
he?
season?
No, he didn't do. Did he do season 2?
Yep.
It only says season 3 on Wikipedia.
It's I'm on Wikipedia as well, and it says he was showrunner for 4th season of MacGyver and the 2nd and 3rd seasons for Picard.
Weird, because down at below, when you get to the grid, it just says season 3. Oh, that's writer. Okay, I can read. I promise I can read.
So I guess maybe
He was co-showrunner season 2, and then sole showrunner season. So he had complete control of season 3. Okay,
and it looks who was showrunner, was it Akiva for season 2 as well?
I don't know.
It was Akiva Goldsman. So it depends on how much of it he's going to be writing as well. And B, if they get Akiva Goldsman.
All right.
With Marvel, Akiva Goldsman is a possibility.
Yeah, Paramount's like collapsing right now. All right, let's move on because we got a 77-page slideshow as you mentioned
Dear
earlier.
God, dear God. Okay, so, um, so we got a new Venom announcement. Venom War. What's nice about our news is we're talking about comic books and it's all comic book news. We're going back to our roots.
I guess my annoyance of sending this to you was I just don't like them doing a Venom big crossover every year. I mean, I know it's Marvel's thing, but it's just kind of like, okay, Venom was.
Look at this. They even talk about it like Maximum Carnage, Absolute Carnage, King in Black every few years. And so like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So they're even talking about how they do this a lot. And this is on Marvel's website.
Yeah, and this was the Donny Cates stuff is excellent. So that stuff was really great. I haven't read anything past that though, so I don't know if the Venom series is still good or if it's a mess.
Master at planning out epic storylines. You blah 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 blah. Limitless in scope. The series has followed Eddie Brock and his son Dylan. Are you familiar with Dylan?
Yeah, he's a big part of the Donny Cates story. At the end of Donny Cates' story, Dylan is Venom and Eddie is something else.
Okay. Is this Agent Anti-Venom?
Appears to be, and you got Red Goblin there too. Yeah, it's like what? Why are we bringing all these people back?
Is that Null? Is that Null? That's not Null.
No, that's not Null. I don't know. It almost looks like Loki a little bit. It's got that horn coming off of him. I think that's Dylan.
He's got
the chains. Yeah, it's Dylan.
So wait, is he like Ghost Rider or something?
No, he's just being a little bit different than his dad. Let's scroll down. Let's read about Venom War #1 here and see what this is.
All right. Last Venom standing. The Venom symbiote has bonded with both Eddie Brock and his son Dylan at different points. Now both Brocks are going head to head, determined to be the one true Venom, father versus son in a showdown of showdowns that threatens to tear the world asunder. It's the battle for the Biotes. God, like you've never seen.
God, that is terrible.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Okay. Okay, so these are Venom War rages on as Eddie and Dylan's father-son war breaks out. Another Dylan Brock. What?
Yeah, keep
Another
reading. It makes sense if we keep reading.
another Dylan Brock is on a mission to make sure things go the way they're supposed. Oh, he's an older Dylan Brock. That's right. Old Man Venom is jumping through time to Oh God.
Okay, keep going. Wait, who's that writer? Can you say that writer's name for me back up there?
Uh, to, Torin Grunbich. Art and wait, hold on. First of all, is who's this? Cafoon?
CAFU. CAFU.
I mean that.
Do you
Who
see
are
it,
these?
FU? Do
Who
you
are
see
these?
it?
Sorry, California. Oh my God. What the like? Oh my God. I mean, it's like this is the timeline where everyone's names are like freaking Elon's kid.
It looks like the opening credits of Monty Python, The Holy Grail, where they're doing all the stuff about the moose.
Okay, so let's see. We've got the Spider-Man in black. Eddie Brock wants a symbiote. Dylan Brock wants a symbiote, but they're forgetting about the first host to ever wear the black, Peter Parker. That's right. Spider-Man is back in black again, and this time he's liking how it fits him. You mean like every time?
I would say, how many times have we done this?
Every time he puts it on, he likes how it fits him. Maybe the winner of the Venom War could be the OG. Oh my God.
No, Greg Land, yay!
Okay, Carnage. Here we go. You can't have a war without Carnage. As Dylan and Meredith rally their troops, Carnage has plans of his own. Could they involve the new deadly to symbiote's weapon he discovered in Carnage number 8?
There's a Carnage series.
I guess so. It's a new chapter. Oh God. Venomous. Is this Black Widow?
Appears to be.
So we got Black Widow and we've got Agent Anti-Venom. The Venomous Black Widow. Wait, is this number 1? Oh God. Black Widow and her newly trained symbiote are jumping into the Venom War and picking a side. Fresh off their new understanding from Black Widow Venomous one-shot, Widow starts looking for horrific experiments Alchemex has been running based on their symbiote program. And she isn't the only one. Natasha's old teammate from her Secret Avengers days, now known as Agent Anti-Venom, is on the case. Zombiotes? Oh my God. This is so dumb.
It just gets worse the more you scroll down.
Dead or alive, or both. As the two Venoms face off, a darker strain of symbiote has slithered across New York City. One that can reanimate the dead and turn the living into an engine of mindless hunger with just one bite. That's right, zombie symbiotes making symbiote Ew, why do you gotta do that? Zombie symbiotes making symbiote zombies. And you thought they liked eating brains before. I got to be honest, I never thought they liked eating brains specifically.
So, if you're a zombie with a symbiote and you bite someone, they're going to also grow a symbiote. I don't think that's how symbiotes work. But okay, all right.
No, I think that it is a strain of symbiote that can attach to the dead.
Yeah, but then it said that's right, zombie symbiotes making
and turn living into an engine of mindless hunger with just so. Okay, wait, no, they've all got symbiotes on.
Yeah, I don't understand. Okay,
this. I can I be on? Okay, so we what did we do? We did 2099. We did the Infinity thing, and then we did this. I think this is the worst thing that we've reacted to so far.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I think the Infinity the Infinity Watch thing is better than this.
Yeah. All right. What was the other one that we saw? The Wolverine something.
Next up, we have Wolverine Revenge. Now, funny thing, This one was difficult to find, specifically because there was a GameCube game called X2, Wolverine's Revenge.
Yeah.
The best there is by the best there is. Oh, I like that. The best there is by the best there is. I love that.
Yeah. Jonathan Hickman, as we've often said, is one of the best writers in comic books today.
And honestly, I think Greg Capullo is like one of the greatest artists in comic books today. So this is a pretty good team up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. Is there oh, okay, so it's not going to be like that. Where do we start as far as what this is about?
That Capullo and Hickman pit. Yeah.
Wolverine against a cadre of foes who will turn his world upside down, including Sabretooth, Omega Red, Deadpool, and more. He's been beaten, he's been bloodied, and Logan has only one thought on his mind. Okay, so this is like a spaghetti western where
Yeah.
I would assume. Okay, so one of five. I would assume everyone is like him going after Sabretooth, Omega Red, Deadpool. I'm gonna guess. Maybe Deathstrike, maybe.
And it looks like it takes place in Savage Land with the dinosaur there. So
right, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, they've even got it on the cover itself. I love this. I might have to pick up this actual an issue of this just to if it has this on it, the best there is by the best there is. That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm more excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then finally, as far as news, and this one I want to bring up because we can talk about this for because I know you wanted to do like the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad. This involves one of those people that's on that list, Jeff Loeb. We have what they're calling the finale to the Halloween
Oh
trilogy.
no. Okay, go on.
So there was the Long Halloween, right?
Yeah,
And
which
then
is great.
it had a direct sequel called Dark Victory, which
It's
was
okay.
it was beat for beat just the Long Halloween.
Yeah.
And so apparently they've been planning this for a while. Unfortunately, Tim Sale passed, I believe, last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember when.
Yeah, it's been a bit since
Yeah.
it passed. Yeah.
And so they kind of put their plans on hold, but they are moving forward with the last Halloween, which is going to be a 10-part starting in September, I believe. Let's see. The Batman Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. I kind of hate that. I thought it was just called The Last Halloween, but it's called The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. Because like they have to put Long Halloween on here. We can't just have it be its own thing. Is described as a 10-part mystery continuing the story from 2021's Batman The Long Halloween special, which I didn't know existed. I might have to look into that. In the debut issue, Gotham City learns to fear Halloween once more as a terrible event threatens to destroy Jim Gordon's life and puts Batman and Robin's teamwork to the test more than ever before. In a city of liars, mass vigilantes, and criminals, can anyone be trusted? That just sounds like Dark Victory.
Yeah.
So,
Was
and
Robin in Dark Victory? I can't remember.
Dark Victory was his origin.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I remember Long Halloween quite well. I've read that several times. I think I've only read Dark Victory once, and
Yeah,
I've read that Catwoman, but when in Rome once.
I do like I like Win in Rome a lot actually. And then they also did so Tim Sale they actually did four things together. There was Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Win in Rome, and then Haunted Night. Haunted Night is really good. It's like it's a 3-issue mini, and each issue is like something that takes place on Halloween. Like it's not like a mystery or anything. It's kind of like, remember Holiday Nights from the animated series where they had like
Mhm.
three. It's kind of like that, but for Halloween.
Cool.
So I think we could put this on the docket because I do want to do some of that. You take the good, you take the bad stuff, the facts of life.
Yeah,
Uh,
this will be interesting because you don't have Tim Sale, and it's like, okay, does this still work without Tim
yeah.
Sale? You know,
So I think I think this said September 24th, maybe sometime in September is whenever we do that Jeff Loeb show where
sure.
we can talk Long Halloween, Dark. I'm trying to think. So Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Win in Rome. Um, um,
Commando, Teen Wolf. Uh,
what do you? We don't have to like go into too much depth. What do you think of Red Hulk?
I haven't read it.
Okay.
I
I
don't like I don't like the idea of the character. I don't like Ross. I mean, if it's a one-time story where Ross has powers, cool. But him being a recurring superhero, I don't like it.
and I also I want to get long. You should. You should. I actually have a very strange opinion about Long Halloween, and this is another reason why I would like to do this show. Um, so like their DC animated movies that they
Mm-hmm.
did the two-parter Long Halloween. I think that is better than the book.
The if I recall, the book they were kind of changing the ending as they went.
Yep. Yep.
So, because Wizard magazine was a big deal at the time, and I think they kept guessing the ending, so they kept
Yep.
changing things around.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Honestly, like if you analyze it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
yeah,
It's a great book. I
yeah,
do
it's
think
it's
that.
still really cool. The all the villains in it are a lot of fun. The artwork,
Yeah.
I remember really enjoying the Solomon Grundy stuff. It's fun.
So it's something that we do a lot now. But it was really novel back then. There really was never like the Batman Maxi series that had like all the villains together in one place. Like now we do that a lot, especially after Hush, also by Jeff Loeb. And so um, that um, it's one of those things where this was the OG, this was the original. So uh, also, fun fact: I think Hush is Jeff Loeb's worst work. Uh,
Mm, I wouldn't say his worst work, but it is not. It's overrated.
100%. That's another one that I think the movie's better. Um,
If you
so
think that's his worst work, I've got some Wolverine comics for you to read.
well, and so that's what the show's going to be about. Is we're going to read some of his best and some of his worst.
Are we going to watch his movies? Are we going to watch Teen Wolf, Commando, all that?
No, I think we just keep it comic books.
Okay.
Like we could talk about his work on the Daredevil show and how he kind of ruined Marvel Netflix as well. But we don't have to like watch any of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So be on the lookout. I would assume that we're probably going to do Facts of Life before Jeff Loeb, but now you guys know that we'll probably be doing this. Jeff Loeb will be in September. When is this again? September 25th is the last Halloween #1. So
Yeah.
cool,
Cool.
cool. I'll be honest, I'm kind of excited for it just because I love the Long Halloween. It was like the first comic book that I like really loved. Because like I read stuff like Year One and Dark Knight Returns, and I thought they were okay, but like it didn't feel like Batman to me. Neither of
Hmm.
those did. Long Halloween was the first thing that I read that felt like Batman.
I remember I went over to my friend's house when I was like, must have been like, say, I'd probably been ninth grade. And he had all these graphic novels on his shelf that his parents had bought him, but he had never read any of them.
Okay.
And I was like, I started flipping through Dark Knight Returns. I'm like, have you not seen what's on your bookshelf? This is incredible. And that was my first exposure to Dark Knight Returns. Just
Okay.
saying, hey, can I borrow this? This is awesome.
I'm about to reread Nightfall. I love Nightfall. I My favorite thing about Nightfall is the fact that because so the way Nightfall works, and it's a lot like, I mean, they really took it in Dark Knight Rises. You break the Batman's back, and then you break everyone out of Blackgate and Arkham. And so, in order to make it threatening, not only did they like have people like the Joker, Batman, blah blah. I mean, like, this was a 2 year story arc. I think this takes up like five thick volumes for Nightfall. um no, it's three, because No Man's Land is five. But it's three really thick volumes for Nightfall. They had to make up a bunch of villains, and so like that's where you get people like Condiment King and Film Freak, and I love Nightfall. So
Real quick, I just remember what I want to talk about today. Have you been watching the stuff about Terrence Howard?
yes, I have.
I think that needs to be its own show.
Oh my god. You know what it is. Remember how like we were joking that it turns out that Rhodey is a Skrull, and then Terrence Howard comes out and says, "You guys didn't notice." I think Terrence Howard is a Skrull.
It's like that episode of Robot Chicken where Michael Jackson's walking down the street, everybody's celebrating Michael Jackson, and then the UFO crashes in the 1980s. Michael Jackson gets out and goes, "He's an imposter. How could you not tell?" They have this big fight, the two different Michael Jacksons, and he's like, "He looks nothing like me." Oh yeah, if you haven't watched Moist Critical's videos on Terrence Howard or his appearance on the Joe Rogan show, he's
Yeah,
he's quite insane, and
yeah,
he thinks that 1 × 1 = 2, and he's rewrote
and
all math based on this fact.
and the way that he explains it, I'm like, it um. So I've watched Asmongold's videos on it. Asmongold said something really funny, because he watched it, and then he watches Terrence Howard explain 1 × 1 = 2, and then Asmon pauses it. He's like, "Yo, this is why teachers have you show your work in school." Oh man,
It's
dear
wild.
dear God. And here's the thing, this isn't even why he was fired as Rhodey. Like,
No,
I'm trying to remember, what was it, just a money thing?
he was the first. What I've heard, he was the first contract signed for Iron Man, and they were paying him too much money compared to the other actors, and they didn't want to continue paying him that amount for the sequels.
I'm gonna go ahead and just, like, this is me as I was a child in 2008. Was Terrence Howard a big deal back then?
I get him and who's it, Omar Gooding mixed up. Um, Terrence Howard. I mean, he's done Big Mama's House and stuff. I mean, I guess he did a bunch of movies, and then he was on Empire, that TV show.
Yeah, but I mean, that was after Iron Man. I'm talking about like why were they paying him so much?
I just think it was their first movie. They didn't know what they were doing.
Uh, you know what? He was in Crash. That's what it was. Crash was huge in like 2004 and 2005.
Hmm.
Uh, and so it was probably because he was in Crash. But the thing is Crash was an ensemble, so like he was.
It looks like he was nominated for a bunch of awards for Crash and for Hustle and Flow. So he was kind of a big deal going into Iron Man.
Yeah. Was he getting paid? Was he getting paid more than Jeff Bridges? Because I feel like Jeff Bridges would have been the one to get paid the most.
Well, I think, but Jeff Bridges kind of had like a big comeback later in his career. He probably was not that big a deal when. I'm trying to think of when Iron Man came out,
2008.
like what Bridges was doing around that time.
Uh, you're right. I would probably say Jeff. No, yeah, you're right. Jeff Bridges' big comeback was in like 2010 with Tron Legacy and True Grit.
Yeah,
Mainly True Grit.
yeah.
Even though I and like that's another show. We got to do a Tron show. I love it. Um, Tripping Orc, I want to thank you for your research and your work on the show. I really appreciate. So this just in one times one does not equal two. Um,
I was concerned.
I was
Thank you.
concerned we were gonna have to issue an apology to Terrence Howard.
All of a sudden, all our calculators update. What? Oh, so sorry, we were wrong.
No. Oh
He's
no.
right. He's right. If we screwed up,
Let's see.
and then our history books will say, for thousands of years, mankind thought one times one was two, and they mocked people like Terrence Howard until Terrence Howard changed the world.
So yeah, it looks like that. He. Um. Yeah, it looks like that he had his big comeback in like. It probably started in 2008.
Yeah.
But I remember like True Grit won a bunch of awards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
all right, I think it's time to talk some turtles.
It is. It is. So, like I said, this is going to be a learning experience for me. And I mean, are these slides in any particular order? Do you just want me to like go through them?
Just go in order, and I'll kind of.
Okay.
Because like at the beginning,
if we need to, I could put it on. I was gonna say I could put it on loop, but it's 75. So.
No, don't put it on loop. We'll just manually go through them.
It's 75, so we wouldn't finish the loop.
All right, yeah. So go ahead and pull it up. IDW Turtles. Basically, they take a lot of concepts that we've seen in other, series from the original series and stuff, and then they kind of adapt it and remold it and stuff. So, Caleb, you've read, you said like the first couple volumes, you think?
Yeah. And if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first couple volumes are very similar to the first couple Mirage.
Yeah, it does start out well. The series starts out with Raphael missing, and the turtles looking for him.
I remember something like City at War or something like that. What was that? That sounds familiar. That might have been something.
We'll get to it. City Fall was the first one. City of War was like way later.
Okay.
All right. So a couple of things I will not be talking about. Go ahead and go to the next slide. We love Last Ronin. We're not talking about Last Ronin Day, so we're going to be focusing mainly on the main IDW series. And then we will also not be talking about the crossovers. And there's a bunch of them.
Honestly, these are the ones that I'm familiar with the most. So I'm familiar with all of these except for the Stranger Things ones.
There's also, I realized I left Ghostbusters off of here. There's a He-Man one about to come out. So they do a lot of crazy crossovers. I think there's crossover of Mars Attacks and stuff. So,
also, just a reminder that in Street Fighter 6, the Turtles costume DLC is $60 for some reason.
It's so crazy. It's that's a whole nother show. DLC prices and. That's why I play Vampire Survivors. I think for the main game and all 4 DLCs, it's like $12 or $10 or something. It's crazy. Okay. So yeah, these are all fine. We're not going to be talking about them. If you haven't seen the Batman Team of Team movie, you should probably check it out.
I actually haven't. That might be something to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go on. So I just picked 10 stories that I thought were pretty cool. Most of these stories take place in the first 50 issues of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Um, and it feels like they just finished issue 150, so it feels like each 50 issues is a complete story almost. So I think the first 50 issues are really strong, really great. The second story arc in the second 50 is a little bit weaker, and then the third one is kind of a slog to get through. Just to be honest, I still haven't finished the final 50. I have most of them on my shelf. I just haven't got through them yet. So, what I'm going to do is just briefly describe these 10 stories. And then if someone wants to go check them out, they can hop off the pod at this point or the live stream. And then we're going to get into spoilers for what's going on with these stories. The first one up there with Old Man Splinter, this is where the turtles find out where they came from. And most of the cartoons and the comic books, it is, you all know the story. The turtles get hit with mutagen, and either Hamato Yoshi or a rat gets hit with the mutagen, and they mutate into turtles and Splinter.
Yeah, and then Matt Murdock also gets hit by the mutagen and becomes blind.
Yes. This one is a little different. The turtles were experiments being experimented on by Baxter Stockman. And there's a loose lab rat named Splinter that keeps running around the lab. And April is an intern at this at Baxter Stockman's laboratory. And there's a whole thing where someone tries to steal the turtles. They fall into the mutagen. They mutate. Well, what they find out is they are actually reincarnations in this story. And in feudal Japan, Hamato Yoshi and his wife, I think her name's Teng Shin, they have 4 kids, and he decides that the Foot Clan he's part of the Foot Clan, and he decides that they were an honorable group, and then Rokusaki is corrupting them. And so they go on the run, and Rokusaki hunts them down and executes the whole family. And
so is and forgive me, this sounds extremely familiar. I'm sure this is one that I read, but it has been so long. Is Splinter also a reincarnation?
Yes. So his last vow before he's executed is somehow, some way, me and my children will be reunited, and we will take our revenge on you, Shredder.
That is so metal.
Yeah, I love it. This is my favorite. This is my favorite version of the Turtles. So we'll talk about a little bit more about that here in a minute. The next one is micro series Leonardo.
Yes, I'm familiar with this one.
This one is a classic story that's been retold several times. It's retold in the first Ninja Turtles movie with Raphael instead of Leonardo, where he has to fight off against several Foot Clan members on his own. And this is his first meeting with the Shredder. Next, we find out that they are trying to duplicate the turtle experiment, and they have created a new Ninja Turtle known as Slash, and they have a very crazy fight. The next one looks like they're in front of a stained glass window. This is the follow-up to the Slash story, basically, where the turtles have lost their edge after the Slash fight. A mysterious stranger shows up and just whoops their tails. We'll talk about that. Then, another favorite of mine, The Secret History of the Foot Clan. This is where you find out how Shredder is still alive after 300 years or 400 years. And you find out all kinds of stuff about where the Foot Clan came from, a lot of stuff about Hamato Yoshi and Orokosaki. Just a really cool series. Bottom row, we get City Fall, where the Shredder finally makes his move to conquer the city. The turtles just get destroyed, and we'll talk more about what happens here in a little bit. Next one, where you see like a turtle's hand on the ground, that is attack on the Technodrome. The turtles have to team up with Shredder to take out Krang before he terraforms the whole planet. Really big turning point here. Then issue 50 there with Splinter fighting Shredder. This is the Vengeance storyline, where it's the final battle between Splinter and Shredder.
I think this is. I think so. It ends with issue 50.
This story arc does. Everything changes after issue 50.
Okay, gotcha. So I have read the first 50 issues.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Long time, but up until this point, everything sounds familiar.
Okay. Next, we have a guilty pleasure of mine. Bebop and Rocksteady destroy everything. Imagine Bebop and Rocksteady stealing like a DeLorean or the TARDIS or something, and just totally destroying the time stream.
I mean, I feel like that this is because I think everyone was doing this at the time. I think Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe kind of started something, and then everyone had to do it. And so I guess this is their version of it, right?
I've never read Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, so I mean, it's probably similar, but it just they take all the time travel rules and just break them over and over and over. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, that's why else would you do a time travel story? Like if your time travel story doesn't break the rules, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think I think we were talking about this because you said that was your problem with Three Body was they never broke their own rules, and there comes a point in sci-fi where you have to break your rules to make it interesting.
Yeah. That's a whole nother show if we start talking about Three Body Problem.
Yeah, no. It's I'm not bringing it up so we can talk about it. I'm saying that that's relative.
Yeah. Lastly, we have City at War. I'm not going to talk too much about this, even in spoilers. This was their big build up to issue 100. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of new characters that we probably won't talk too much about today, the Pantheon and stuff. So, but let's go ahead and start talking about some of these individual stories. So if this sounds interesting, this is your time to hop off because we're going into deep spoilers now. So go ahead and go to the next slide. So we talked a little bit about this earlier. This to me, this is such a cool story where you see them growing up in the past. And a lot of the series where they refer to Splinter as their father, I think it's really cool when it actually is their father, and it really changes the dynamic of
what issues are these as far as the storyline?
I think this is 5 through 8. I think this is volume 2 of the series. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see some of the stuff I was talking about earlier. This is where they are. This is where his wife actually gets killed, and so he's taking the 4 kids on the run, and he has promised that he will keep them away from the violence. To his promise to his wife.
So you know how like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has always been like a parody of Daredevil, like in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this, it looks like IDW is like a parody of Mortal Kombat because this is definitely Scorpion's origin story.
Well, I couldn't help but when I read stuff like this and then watch Shogun, I'm like, gosh, I want the cast of Shogun to do Ninja Turtles so bad.
I mean, that's can we? I respect it. Can we also appreciate the absurdity of that? Like,
yeah,
it's like, oh man, I want the guys of Schindler's List to do Teletubbies. Like
right, yeah. I want the Schindler's List cast to do Beetlejuice, please. Yeah. It was occurring to me as I was putting these pictures together, we might get in a little trouble on YouTube with some of this graphic pictures, but we'll get there. This is
I
where
can. I mean, if you want to keep talking, I can go through them quickly just to see if I need to
there's
edit.
just one in particular, I think around issue 50, where I was like, I don't think it's that bad, but you never know.
I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, so the picture that he had up a while ago was the execution of the 4 kids. Sounds like I'm talking about the TV network. The execution of 4 kids.
The execution of 4 kids with the Back to the Sewers and Fast Forward and Turtles Forever. You said it was around issue 50?
Yeah.
What did it involve?
Splinter and Shredder doing something. But yeah, the fun thing about the reincarnation stuff is the fun thing about the reincarnation is some of the turtles are like, yep, I fully buy into this. Like Leonardo 100% believes his father. Donatello has huge problems with this. It doesn't make sense scientifically. And he really... I think we're fine, Caleb, if you want to go back to...
Yeah, I maybe you didn't put it in there because I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
What are we... Oh, so wait, are we still talking about...
the 4 kids where they were...
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing about the reincarnation is Leonardo is fully on board and Donatello just has major issues with this. It doesn't make sense scientifically. And this is a running theme throughout this is the arguments between Leonardo and Donatello of all things. Because in most series it's Leonardo versus Raph. This series it's a lot of Leonardo versus Donatello.
I feel like, and tell me if, and once again, I've read the stuff. It has been 10 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that like Raphael doesn't care one way or the other about like whether or not they're reincarnations.
Pretty much. He's like, yeah, whatever. Let's go kick their butts or whatever. He doesn't care.
And
Mikey
is probably like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Well, we'll get to it in a minute. Mikey, like, he starts realizing he can read Japanese and stuff. He shouldn't be able to read Japanese, and he can just read Japanese because he's remembering his past life and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So here's the thing: the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I definitely read this.
Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next one. I just like that story because it's just that the past part where we're talking about it. A lot of this I'm not going to talk about, like stuff with Casey Jones and his dad Hun and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is, they've been hearing about the Foot Clan and from their dad Splinter. Well, now this is their first battle where Leonardo gets attacked by the Foot. He gets attacked by a lot of the Foot Clan, and Shredder is dressed as one of the Foot Clan members, and you can kind of click through these where he's fighting them all. And see, he remembers his mom dying and the execution and stuff. And he's like, no, I can't let this happen again. And this is where Shredder judges him and says he's not impressed and throws him off the top of the building. This will come back. This thing about Shredder judging Leonardo and trying to determine if he is worthy to be part of the Foot. This will come back later on. So the Slash story, this is a big confrontation where Slash follows them to their base. They have a big fight, and you can go ahead and go to the next picture. We see like Baxter Stockman, and they're trying to recreate the turtle thing. They can't get it quite right. They don't realize that they're kind of missing the reincarnation part of this. And then the guy that's with Baxter down there is, I think his name's Chet. He's actually Fugitoid in disguise.
Oh, really?
As the series goes on, you find out that this is Fugitoid and he's hiding out and stuff. And the reason he stutters all the time is because his voice box is malfunctioning. And he is on the run from Krang. He's hiding from Krang, who has conquered Dimension X and is fighting with the neutrinos. You remember the neutrinos from the old cartoon?
Yeah.
Like they're the like 50s street or 50s teenagers that have the flying cars and stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're in this series quite a bit too. Only in this series, they're like more like military, like they're rebels fighting against the Empire. Kind of a Star Wars thing going on. So we're kind of seeing that Slash starts hunting the turtles, and I love Slash. Anytime Slash shows up in any turtle media, he's like one of my favorite characters every time.
I just thought it'd be funny. Like, I want to check on Reddit to see if there's like a Slash Reddit, so it's like r//.
Terrible.
I don't know if I've ever gotten your opinion. How do you feel about Taka and Razor, or whatever their names are?
I liked him when I was a kid and saw the movie. I don't care for him now. Like it. I think Turtles 2 had potential to be as good as the first Turtles movie if they had done two things differently. And I think these were originally the plans and they got changed somewhere. The two mutants should have been Bebop and Rocksteady, first off.
Right.
And then the what's his name? Dr. Warner, Professor Warner.
Yeah.
He should have been an Utrom. If you reveal that he's an Utrom, that whole movie's way better. And that, that's where the ooze, like it would tie more into what happened in the comic books where.
Oh, gotcha.
And then the third movie should have been Renee with her time scepter and Savante Romero and all that fun stuff. But whatever. the movie's kind of frustrating. The first one is, it's like 98% perfect.
It is it is what would what would you call it? Cinema. It is cinema.
I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. Like if you're looking for something that
I could agree with that.
As close to the comic book as possible. I mean, it is right there.
That's not always a good thing. Like, I think the most comic book accurate Spider-Man is Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's because it's pretty accurate and it's also kind of bad, which is comic accurate.
Yeah. Another great Slash story I like, the Nickelodeon series. The first appearance of Slash is amazing, where he's just taking them all out and stealing all their bandanas.
I remember that one. That was dope.
Yeah. So Slash finds their base. There's a huge fight, and it ends with Leonardo stabbing Slash and freaking out because he's killed somebody. And Slash's body falls into the water at the end. So if you go to the I agree. I think the first, a lot of people rag on those turtle movies. That first turtle movie is really, really good.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that one and I'm sure we've talked about this because we have an entire show dedicated to the Turtles. The 2007 one, I love that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I'd have to rewatch it.
I think it's for the Leonardo Raphael fans.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And apparently they're bringing that character back, Night Watcher, I think in the IDW series.
Okay.
So, all right. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see where he accidentally stabs Slash and he freaks out. And Slash tumbles over and falls into the sewer water, and they think he's dead. Of course, he's not dead, but old Hob finds him and recruits him. And he's like his first recruit for the Mutanimals. And so old Hob, let's talk about old Hob for just a second. When the turtles were stolen from the lab and covered in mutagen, old Hob was an alley cat that attacked them and also got into the mutagen. And he knocked Raphael the turtle away from them. That's why Raphael got lost. and Splinter clawed out old Hobbs' eye. When Splinter was still a rat, clawed out his eye. So that's why he kind of hates the turtles, but he also kind of becomes an ally as the series goes on.
that's kind of like Splinter clawing out Shredder's eye a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And Old Hob is a new character to the turtle mythos, and I think he's a lot of fun. He is. You want to trust him, and then he always kind of screws you over in the end. He's not a good person, and the Mutanimals are usually conflicted by his leadership. Sometimes they're like gung ho, like, yep, Hobbs, old Hob is our leader, and then other times they're like turning on him and stuff. And you'll see that Slash gets more and more intelligent as the series goes on. And he really starts questioning old Hobbs' leadership as it goes on. So let's move on. I really like this story. A stranger shows up and just whoops the turtles, totally wipes them out. And the stranger says, "I'm going to go kill your master. I'm heading to your base right now." And he just keeps whipping the turtles the whole way to the base. So if you click to the next slide, you'll see the stranger that they're fighting, and he keeps like breaking their weapons and attacking with moves they've never seen before, and just really showing them they are not ready for what's to come. You find out that the stranger is Splinter, that he is testing the turtles, and he felt like the turtles had lost their edge after the Slash thing. Like Leonardo was really questioning himself, and so he really had to kind of get him to snap out of it with this fight. I just really like that design of the stranger, the costume and stuff.
Was this a one shot?
No, this was like issue 20 or something.
Right, but it wasn't like a story arc. This was a single issue.
Yes, a single issue. This was like right before they get into City Fall. So, the secret history of the Foot Clan. I think the guy's name is Tetsuo. He was this just evil dude in the Foot Clan, and they ended up turning on him and hunting him down. And they sent like 100 men to kill him, and he like killed all of them except for like 3, and then one of them cut off his leg, and he ends up killing all the others, but he's like dying in the snow. And so the girl in the background there with the fox mask, that is Kitsune the witch, and she finds Tetsuo and nurses him back to health, and she uses this mysterious green ooze to regrow his leg, and it leaves a bloody footprint, and this is where the Foot Clan begins. So Tetsuo, there's a whole story here, but he ends up like taking over the Foot Clan. They end up eventually overthrowing him, and you find out that where Kitsune is getting the green ooze from is she has a doorway to another dimension where she's getting it from the Utroms. And it's strongly hinted that this is Krang here that is the one giving her the ooze. We see Tetsuo, or I keep saying his name differently, Tetsuo, he gets killed eventually, and then it's strongly implied that he is reborn as Orokosaki. Like his spirit has, the reincarnation thing, he is inhabiting Orokosaki. And so you see Orokosaki, he's struggling between being good or evil when he's a kid and stuff. In the future, they find the journals from the Foot Clan, and there's a big fight over it. The Foot is fighting over the turtles, and the guy at the top is the professor that has the journals that everybody's trying to get from him. So there's some really cool art in this one, some really cool fights. I think this is the book where Michelangelo learns that he can speak Japanese because he's able to read the journal. We haven't talked much about Alopex the wolf, but she is part of the Foot Clan, and she has been brainwashed by the Foot Clan. Eventually, she'll become the turtles' ally and Raphael's sometime lover. Um, but yeah, so she's part of the group that's trying to hunt them down. Let's see, what else did I put from this story? Yeah, this is where Michelangelo realizes that he can read Japanese.
I just realized I can read more manga now.
Yeah, and so
he can read One Piece when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. This series is great.
That is the ultimate superpower, is being caught up on One Piece.
Yes. Which was really good today, the new chapter, but that's another thing. They start learning that the mutagen is what is keeping Shredder immortal. There's a whole thing about him being the future host body of the Dragon King. A lot of this doesn't pay off until like issue 100, but they're starting to lay the seeds here.
Do you ever see somebody without eyebrows?
Like Whoopi Goldberg?
That's however you feel about seeing someone without eyebrows, that's how I feel about seeing a Ninja Turtle without their mask. I'm like, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, with the Sophie Campbell issues after issue 100, they never wear their mask, and it gets really annoying. Because I don't know who I'm looking at half the time. Like, hey, which turtle is this? I need the colors.
I like the 2003 show because they also have different shades of green, so it's easier to tell. Yeah. And I'm sure it kind of looks like they have different shades here as well, but like it's not contrasting enough.
Yeah.
Yes, my oh man. I gotta be honest, I've seen videos of the Coming Out of Our Shells tour. It kind of looks like a really, really high budget VBS.
When I was probably 5th grade, they were taking it was the end of the year, and they were taking votes on who your favorite music group was.
No, please, no.
And it was like a ballot, like it didn't have my name on it. But I was sitting next to the people that were counting the votes, so I wrote, Ninja Turtles Coming Out of Their Shell. And so they got to my vote, and they just crumpled it up and threw it away. I was like, no.
It's like, yeah.
They're like, well, this is a joke. Obviously, someone doesn't like Ninja Turtles like that. I was like, no, my vote.
And they say that every vote counts.
Yeah, obviously not. Oh goodness! So this is the final panel. Shredder in his diaper, looking at the.
You know what?
City.
Weird way to describe it. This is actually a really cool shot.
Yeah, he is. He has been reborn, and he is ready to conquer this city.
Oh, dude, you know what it looks like, and I'm sure this is what they were going for. Remember in the animated series how Ra's al Ghul would look like covered in the Lazarus pit?
Yes,
water. Like that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yep.
I'm sure that Lazarus Pit was a very best day of my life up until that point. I mean,
and to this day, it's still the best day
to this day.
We peaked at age 5.
Oh man, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I ever went to, because my dad was a youth pastor, and so I went to a lot of Christian concerts like Toby Mac and stuff. I don't know if I ever went to any particular shows like that, because I wasn't a Disney kid, so Disney on Ice was not a thing that I saw. I bet you there was a VeggieTales one that they came out with that I went and saw, and
I have vague memories of Sesame Street Live, but I don't know if I saw that on television and my brain just saying, "Oh, you went to that," or if I was actually there. I don't know.
Have you seen videos of Mortal Kombat the live tour?
Yeah, I want to say yes. There's a lot of weird Mortal Kombat media out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one looks so cool. I wish I wasn't even born yet. Actually, it was around MK3, so I might have just been born. But it was just a martial arts stunt show. But that is so cool.
Yeah.
The
Power Team. Mortal Kombat Power Team.
Oh my gosh, the Power Team! I did see them.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
ripping.
Your grandfather recorded over a lot of my videos I'd made with the Power Team. Yeah, good times. Anyhow, I really love City Fall. Basically, Shredder makes his move. They lure Raphael and Casey Jones to an alleyway, and they kidnap Casey Jones. So if you go to the next slide, they kidnap Casey. And let me say that Leonardo design right there on the cover is one of my favorite designs, and I really want an action figure of that.
He looks like Strider Hiryu if he was a turtle.
Who is Strider? Who?
Strider Hiryu, the Psychogenesis game Strider.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Strider. Okay, yeah.
Yep. I'm a nerd. Okay, so
I didn't know he had a last name, so he said. I was like,
so
who?
actually, Hiryu is his name. Strider is his class.
Right.
Yeah. So there's Strider Hiryu, Strider Hoji, Strider Hien. I'm a big Strider nerd. I love Capcom games.
Yeah.
Oh man, a Strider game that's a Turtles game. Oh, give me that, please.
So yeah, if you go to the next slide, this is where they capture Casey. Let's talk a little bit about Casey. He's okay in this series. It's not my favorite take on Casey Jones.
I gotta be honest, like I don't have any recollection of Casey at all, and I'm pretty sure I've read this stuff.
It's a lot of stuff with him and his dad and the Purple Dragons and Hun, and about him not keeping his grades up and all this stuff. And it's not my favorite. I think the 2003 Ninja Turtles is the best take on Casey Jones,
which itself is an extension of the 90s movie.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, I got to be honest, Casey without long hair just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and making him younger in the Nickelodeon cartoon didn't work either.
Here's the thing. I grew up watching Arrow. I loved Arrow. Stephen Amell as Casey Jones was horrid. It was really bad. And here's the thing. Let me tell you why you don't need to look good. You don't have to be like the most attractive person ever to be happy, because you got Stephen Amell and Megan Fox as love interests, and they have zero chemistry. So it's not all about looks, kids. Let's see. Ooh, hey.
So, yeah, so the Turtles go to rescue Casey, and Shredder just responds by stabbing Casey right in the stomach and just leaving him for dead. So while the Turtles are distracted rescuing Casey, the Foot Clan abducts Leonardo, which is their real target all along.
Is the eye? I don't know if they ever explained this, or if it's just is the eye thing just a design choice when it comes to IDW Shredder? Or like
white eyes? I think it's just a design choice. I don't think it's ever.
Okay, because they do that a lot now. Like they did that in the 2012 show as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. What is next? This is where they capture Leonardo, and they.
Is that Karai?
That is Karai.
Okay.
Yep. So the next time the Turtles see Leonardo, he has been completely brainwashed into thinking that the other Turtles and Splinter are evil, and that Splinter was the one that killed his brothers in feudal Japan, and so he hates them. And yeah, I love this Leonardo design. Leonardo's my favorite character, so seeing him become a villain and stuff, I just think this is a really fun story arc.
Do you remember the Teen Titans episode where Robin works for Slade?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it was in the first. It was like the first season finale. It was before they met Tara and everything. Um, I don't know. I mean, I've always thought that Leonardo and Robin, as the leader of the Teen Titans, kind of had a similar vibe going on.
Oh, sure. It's the Cyclops, Robin, Leonardo
Yeah.
character type. Yes.
Which is funny because the only one that we haven't gotten a good live action adaptation of is Cyclops.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll change.
So a lot of this story arc is Shredder taking out the other crime bosses. He kills a lot of people. Yes, Megan Fox is terrible.
Here's the thing. You two are of a different generation. Transformers came out when I was 11. And so I was the target audience for Megan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So overrated as an actor. Well, and second of all, Jennifer's Body is an amazing horror movie. It's phenomenal. She's great in that. But no, I was 11 and I was the target audience for that movie.
I think the first Transformers live action movie is fun, and then they go downhill rapidly from there.
Oh, okay. So I think that the first one is actually really good. I think the second one is extremely racist and hilarious. And then no, think about this. And then the third one absolutely sucks. Whenever Megan Fox is out of the Transformers movies is when they get bad. Is there a coincidence?
The key to everything.
Is there a coincidence? I don't know. And then Patrick Dempsey's in it for some reason, and I'm like, I liked you in Enchanted.
I got like 20 minutes into the third movie and turned it off, and I've never went back.
Do you know who the bad guy is?
No, I don't remember.
It's Sentinel Prime.
Sentinel Prime. Yeah, he's on the moon or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, back to Turtles. Old Hob and Slash team up with the Turtles. They're not happy about this, but they do team up, and this is the beginning of Slash becoming a good guy. The Shredder and his gang, though, they have a brand new weapon that is terrifying. If you go to the next slide. Oh, wait, this is some of the visions that Leo's having, and they keep switching back and forth between Splinter and Shredder being the ones that kill. Hey, go back.
Oh, okay.
Go back. And so Shredder, a big part of Leonardo breaking out of this is he keeps seeing the ghost of his mom. Her spirit is kind of guiding him back to the good side. So the big secret weapon
is a chainsaw.
Bebop and Rocksteady, they are so deadly in this series. I mean, they're still buffoons, but I think Bebop and Rocksteady should be scary. Like, they're so strong that it should just be terrifying if you're fighting them.
I thought they were funny in the Michael Bay movie, though. It was who was it? It was the black fat guy, the black fat comedian. I can't remember his name. And then
it's the guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. And then Seamus. It was so funny.
I haven't seen the Michael Bay Turtle films. I kind of refuse to.
At this point, this is the result of the Slash experiments, right?
Yeah, I think that they've gotten their hands on mutagen. The Foot Clan has been stealing from Baxter's laboratories, and Baxter's getting the mutagen from Krang. There's this whole chain of things. Like, Krang is wanting Baxter to make him super soldiers, and to win the fight against the neutrinos. But the Foot Clan has been stealing the mutagen, and they create Bebop and Rocksteady.
No, you know what's really funny is I could see Rocksteady, let's say that this is a more realistic take on the Turtles, and Rocksteady is very much in commando garb and whatnot, and that's just what he's wearing because
he works for the Foot. Where do you find Bebop where he's dressed like that?
It's like the Bayou or something, or
Yeah.
it's more of a '80s punk outfit, is what it is.
Did they
Like,
did they
like the
get
Warriors or something?
they just got Bill Paxton off the set of Terminator and they're like, ah, you want some mutagen?
Yeah. Yeah, and you start seeing how deadly Beyond Rocks they are. They're just destroying everything, and they're so much bigger than the turtles. Yeah, so let's go to Attack on Technodrome real quick. I think the first 25 issues are, like I said, my favorite, and then it kind of this is fine. This is Krang is going to terraform the planet to make it breathable for Utroms, to make this a new homeworld for the Utroms. And so the turtles, they decide to go behind Splinter's back, and they decide to use Shredder against Krang. So if you go to the next slide, Donatello shows up as he's controlling Metalhead, and he goes into the Foot Clan and offers a deal with them to team up to take down the Foot. And they're doing all this behind Splinter's back. So Splinter is pretty ticked when he finds all this out, that they've done this. So the turtles also go to the Mutanimals. You see they're starting to form a Mutanimal team. They've got Mondo Gecko down there and Herman the Hermit Crab. And the team does get bigger and bigger as the series goes on. We'll get Pigeon Pete in there and some other characters.
Do you think that like he knew he was a hermit crab before he named himself Herman? Or like do you think that like he was named Herman and it just happened to be a
I don't know. I'm assuming maybe he was a pet that got mutated. I don't know. I don't know if they've ever told where he came from exactly. So
I want okay, so this is my pitch. This is my pitch for an IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover with Wall Street, and then Gordon Gecko is like an actual gecko.
yeah.
Just get Michael Douglas to play a gecko in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. So we see that this is Shredder's army. He's got Bebop, Rocksteady, Hun, Koya, and Bludgeon. Koya's like a falcon. Bludgeon's a shark.
One of these things is not like the others.
Yeah, Hun is he uses mutagen to get stronger, but he's not mutated.
How do you feel? I'm sure we've talked about this before as well. I like it. I want to know your opinion on it. How do you feel about Hun being Slash?
I don't like it. They
Okay.
should be two separate characters.
Okay. I like it. But whatever.
You talking about in Turtles Forever?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care for it, but
who are you talking to?
So we get a big fight. Here's Krang. He's trying to terraform the planet, and Krang is just completely evil in this series. He's a nasty piece of work.
He's also a big fan of Lion King.
Yes. Now I want to add like people at the bottom looking up at this. So the Foot Clan shows up to use the portal that Donatello has to go to Burno Island to fight Krang. And what happens is they leave Bebop and Rocksteady there with Donatello. And if they get word that there's betrayal, Bebop and Rocksteady are ordered to kill Donatello.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get the big fight between everybody and Krang. They do end up defeating Krang. For some reason, I think that the island does get terraformed, so everybody starts having issues breathing on the island, and Shredder like gets knocked out, and Baxter Stockman captures Shredder and flies off of him at the end. And this is Baxter's army of Flyborgs.
Flyborgs.
Yeah, so much fun. If you know the old cartoon, he got turned into a fly, so this is a fun take on that he's creating this fly army.
I've always had a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I know in the games and like in the games you have to like have names for things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the video games, like if you pick him as a character, he's called Fly Stockman. Is that
Okay.
ever like his actual name, or is that just a
No,
name? Okay,
no, he's
okay,
Baxter. He's always Baxter.
okay.
He
Because
has a
I mean,
he has a brother named Barney on the old cartoon, Barney Stockman.
Barney Stockman, and he turns into a purple dinosaur.
Sure. But we have a big fight between the turtles and Krang, and they end up capturing him and turning him over to the neutrinos, and he's going to stand trial. All right, so Bebop and Rocksteady get word that the turtles have betrayed them. I don't remember why they think the turtles betrayed them. They beat the mess out of Donatello. They crack his shell open. They just obliterate him and leave him for dead. If you go to the next panel, so we see that Baxter has escaped and he's captured Shredder, and they start a new partnership between Baxter and Shredder at this point.
Wait, isn't it because they think that they called Baxter to kidnap Shredder? Is that not it?
It may have been. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read it. Something happens, and Shredder just like the turtles have betrayed me, and just freaks out and gives the order. So here we see Krang captured. He's being turned over to the neutrinos, and Fugitoid's going with them.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, it looks like a Muppet shaking hands with David Bowie or something.
Oh God! It's Jeffree Star.
So they get back and they imply that Donnie's dead. He's not quite dead. He's mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
So I bring the story up mostly because this is where Donatello has his consciousness put into Metalhead. So he's Metalhead for a little bit on the team while his body is still comatose. This is the beginning of Vengeance, the final battle between Shredder and Splinter. So if we go to the next slide, this is where you see that Metalhead is now Donnie, that he's living on inside of Metalhead, and so he can control him and stuff. We start learning about a group called the Pantheon here. This is Kitsune's siblings, and they play a big role going up to issue 100 and beyond. One of her siblings is Rat King. So yeah, there's a lot of different characters that start popping up. We also see that Casey has taken over the Purple Dragons and he's starting a war against his dad, Hun. And so we have all these fights going on. And then go to the next slide. We see that Shredder and Baxter have entered a partnership. Karai doesn't like it. But Baxter sends the Flyborgs to go capture Splinter. And they end up, I think they escape, but then they end up at the Foot Clan headquarters and they challenge Shredder to a duel for who's going to lead the Foot Clan. So it's Splinter's 4 soldiers against the Shredder's 4 soldiers in a tournament, and then whoever wins that gets to help their leader in the battle against the final boss or whatever, if you're talking like a video game. So this is the big final confrontation between Splinter and Shredder. During the fight, we start seeing flashbacks to the execution and what brought us here and all this. And then I don't remember how Donatello comes back, but somehow they use the teleporter, the transporter, and they bring him back at some point in this fight. You see them finally learning how to outsmart Bebop and Rocksteady when they fight them. It's not too hard. And then, this is where Donatello comes back. And he's healed. I think they used the transporter to do something. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read it. So then we have the final fight between Splinter and Shredder. And Splinter's like, "You're not going to hurt my kids anymore." And so we get to the final part. We see that Splinter's not playing around, and he cuts off Shredder's head and kills him. We then get this amazing shot, and I think that this has been talked about throughout the issue, where you see Hamato Yoshi and Oroku Saki when they were kids and playing. And he's like, I'll meet you in the forest again one day. That will come into play again later. We get to the Shredder in Hell miniseries. All right. So Splinter has defeated his best friend Shredder, and now Splinter is the leader of the Foot Clan. This is Bebop and Rocksteady Destroy Everything. And I could not find good pictures of this series, which is a shame because I really like this series. If you go to the next slide, this is Renee, the Time Mistress. She's an old Mirage character. She never appears on the old animated series or the movies, but she's been on everything else. And basically, she's like in training, so she always screws up everything, like every time she shows up. Sometimes they'll meet an older version of her that's more wise and knows what she's doing, but for the most part, anytime Renee shows up, it's a disaster. So at some point, her time scepter gets stolen by Bebop and Rocksteady. They end up using it to go back in time, and they meet their younger selves who haven't mutated yet.
So he went from the blinder shades to 3D shades.
Yeah. They start realizing that maybe they should have split up. Like the whole issue or whole story, Bebop and Rocksteady are fighting, and they're like, we should have never become friends and all this. They're like gonna go back in time and change history. So instead, they end up forming a rock band. If you go to the next slide, as you do when you meet your younger selves, you just form a rock band. They have a convertible car they're using to fly around in the series, and like the turtles are chasing them, and they end up. You can see in that bottom panel they're about to crash into themselves. They crash into themselves. They kill two of the Bebop and Rocksteadies. Like they kill one of the humans and one of the animals, and then they just jump in the car and keep going. And you start seeing all these different Bebop and Rocksteady cars everywhere, and they're just like killing each other left and right. It's just chaos. They end up going to Jurassic Times. They end up like everywhere. And like here's a shot of one of the Rocksteadies dying. Like his younger self is dying, which makes no sense. And same thing happens with Bebop. His younger self dies. And they end up, there's like a city somewhere lost in time where all these Bebops and Rocksteadies are like, there's hundreds of them all living together. This is the final panel where they've kind of fixed everything.
Question mark?
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't find a whole lot of fun pictures of this one, but I did want to show this picture. The picture right above the bottom of the girl that's like a fly. What happens is they go back to Baxter's Laboratories, like Baxter's Laboratory, and they when April meets the turtles, they splash mutagen on April, and they reveal that Chet is Fugitoid, and then they knock him through a time portal. So now, like, April has become like this superhero called Nightbug, and like Fugitoid is her like robot assistant, and they fight crime and stuff. So it's like it's the 1930s or something. So that's what the picture is of them in the 1930s fighting crime. I kind of want to see this story. Like they just kind of hint that, oh yeah, this happened off panel. Don't worry about it. And then in the bottom, you see all the Bebop and Rocksteadies that still live in the city that are still out there in time somewhere. Just a crazy. If you like crazy time travel stories, the story is just a lot of fun. Lastly, I'm not gonna really tell you what happens in these. This is the big storyline at issue 100. Uh, this is where the fifth turtle, Jenica, comes from. They're just the turtles have had major falling outs with Splinter about him leading the Foot Clan, and meanwhile, Kitsune is trying to uh, bring the Shredder back to life. But yeah, I'm going to kind of stay a little spoiler free on these. But this is kind of where everything has been building up to, and there's some the big payoff. And then after this, Sophie Campbell takes over, and I just threw this at the end. This is their one of the alternate covers for issue 150 with all the different characters. So yeah, overall, the IDW stories, they're a lot of fun if you're looking for something different. And Sophie Campbell takes over at issue 100, and she was like she did like turtle fan fiction online, like Tumblr stuff and all this. So for whatever reason, they gave her the book, and also COVID hit at the same time. So it's a lot of stories about part of New York gets turned into a mutant city, and so it's a lot about the mutants that live there. A lot of stories about Jenica and her pig girlfriend and all this stupid stuff. And I don't know. It kind of comes up a mess after issue 100. There is a major crossover called the Armageddon game. I have not read it yet. That's supposed to pick up a lot of the loose threads from issue 100 and stuff the Pantheon. So I'm hoping that is pretty cool, but I haven't read it yet. So, but I highly recommend the first, at least the first 50 issues of this. There's a lot of mini series also involved. And I would love if Paramount or Nickelodeon would adapt this into an animated series. I think that would be really cool. So, what are your thoughts, Caleb?
It's cool. I definitely, from what I'm hearing, I stopped at the right place.
I think so. I think issue 50 is fine. The next like issues 50 through 100, it's a lot of the Turtles and Splinter not trusting each other. Like Splinter's becoming more and more like evil, not evil, but the Foot Clan is they take lives and stuff, and it's not like the way the Turtles like doing things. They start having all these falling outs and stuff, and like Michelangelo quits the team because he doesn't like them being part of the Foot Clan, and then eventually the other Turtles come around and agree with him. You get the trial of Krang. You get Leatherhead running around, and I'm not too crazy about this version of Leatherhead. There's a lot of stuff about Agent Bishop and the Utroms that live on Burno Island. One of them is the Shirel, the Shredder Utrom from the 2003 series. So they're setting up all these new players, and I think all that pays off in Armageddon game. I just haven't got there yet. So
for me, Turtles is best whenever Shredder's the bad guy.
Yes.
That is my jam. And so usually after they finally defeat the Shredder and they start like going through time or they going into space, that's where Turtles usually loses me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the battle Nexus or whatever. So yeah, for me, I think
Turtles is a tricky property. Like if you're hired to do a new Ninja Turtle series, what do? You can rehash the stories again and maybe kind of put your new spin on it. But if you take it too far, then the fans will instantly reject it. Like Rise of the TMNT, it's a step too far.
What
Um,
what was the step too far for? Because I actually don't know anything about that.
it's a lot of them having mystical powers, and Shredder doesn't show up to like season 2, and it's just a lot of silly animal bad guys, and
I mean, honestly, that's more of a result of the Dark Knight, where like it became cool to not open up with your main bad guy until like the second one,
yeah, yeah,
because you had Batman Begins, and then you had the Joker in the Dark Knight. You had Man of Steel, and then Dawn of Justice had Lex Luthor. And you had Amazing Spider-Man, and Amazing Spider-Man 2 had Green Goblin. So that was kind of the thing.
yeah. So Sophie Campbell, a lot of her stuff though is building to Armagon, the time traveling shark bad guy. So I don't know how that story wraps up. There's a lot of stuff about the future turtles and stuff, and it seems to be borrowing a lot from the old TMNT Adventures by Archie Comics. Um, so I'm curious where Jason Aaron is going to take the book next when he takes over.
I like Jason Aaron.
Yeah, I do too. So, I think Sophie Campbell was probably on the book too long, but I think a lot of things got screwed up with COVID and everything. So really exciting to see where this goes next. I'm surprised that IDW still has the turtle license after they lost, like GI Joe and Transformers and everything else. Um, this seems to be one of the things that's keeping them afloat. So
Does Nickelodeon have their own publication?
I don't think so. I don't know. But Disney has their own publications, but then they still have Marvel's separate. It's weird how they do stuff.
Yeah, I'm just like maybe IDW is like owned by Paramount or something.
No, that's not the case.
That's not the case. Okay.
No, IDW is way in debt right now. They spent a lot of money trying to get some Netflix series off the ground that didn't pay off.
Like
Um,
what?
like Lock and Key and what was that other one? It's like a shoot. It's like a cowboy outlaw's name, but they've changed it. Like is it like Jane Earp or something?
Winona Earp?
Winona Earp. I think that was yeah. Um, Something like that. So they've spent a lot of money and haven't seen a lot of payoff from those things, and they've gone through a lot of leadership changes over there. A lot of mess over at ICW.
That Winona Earp, that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. That's how you know it was a success.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things where people are kind of like, how is IDW still in business? I think Last Ronin being a success really helped them out. So yeah. So that's our show for today. I don't know if we've figured out what next week is. We'll figure it out. It may be a pre-recorded show next week. I don't know yet. I have to take my son to Shreveport sometime next weekend. It may be Saturday, it may be Sunday. So I do not know just yet. So
Okay.
we will figure that out.
Yeah. I'm seeing Furiosa tonight, so I might talk about that next week.
I'm being dragged to see If tomorrow.
Ooh,
I don't
okay.
want to see If, but
So we could do a good movie, bad movie thing where you talk
Sure.
about your bad movie and I talk about my good movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about, is this really a ripoff of Foster's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Foster's Friends for Imaginary Homes. Yes.
Yes, Foster's Friends for. I kind of want to see that now.
Foster's Friends for Imaginary Homes, and then Angry Allen. Angry Allen. That's what we're watching.
Just a homeless guy staying there. You go, don't you like my house?
And Angry Allen shows up in his Interceptor, And he's like, I don't like your house. I don't like anything. I'm so angry.
All right. Well, that's our show for the night. I hope you check out IDW Turtles. It's awesome. Oh, I found they've been making some action figures of this. It's not through NECA. It's the other one, BTX or whatever. The ones that you'll see at Walmart. They have made a Jenica figure, Alopex, and Rat King. So I'm I'm tempted to get them, but I'm also like I don't want to get into another toy line because I mainly like the NECA ones, but they are out there if you're looking for those. If they make an old Hob, I might have to buy an old Hob.
I didn't
Yeah.
realize that IDW had Rocketeer and the Spirit. I love those two.
Yeah. Well, that's our show for the night. We hope you'll join us next week. Until then, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
And we'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond.
See ya.